Hello, welcome back. I'm just doing some potting on today, so I thought it'd be a good time to talk about a few things really, mainly potting soil, our compost mix that we use to pot on our plants, and for seed starting as well, to be honest. So here it is in the bucket, already mixed up. I had a comment on a video the other day asking me what ratio we use for our potting soil. And it reminded me of when I first started gardening, growing stuff. I found it really confusing as well, because you Google what's the best thing and you get about 10 different answers, you know, using all these strange materials like perlite and cocoa coir and all this stuff, which you don't know what it is, you don't know what to use it for, you don't know what you get it. So I thought I'd just show you how we do it. It's pretty simple, pretty basic stuff, all basic materials. And maybe just try and demystify it a bit, I suppose. If anyone else does struggle with this kind of stuff. Maybe it was just me, I don't know. So this is our pot-in soil. What we've mixed into this batch is mainly compost, about 75% compost, with about 25% perlite, which aids the drainage, and a little bit of slow release fertilizer in there as well. This is a granulated 777 fertilizer. So, just to take a look at the structure of that close up, you can see you got the compost in there, making up the bulk of the soil. And the little white flecks are called perlites. It's, I don't know what the material's made of actually, but it's great stuff to add to soil to add some drainage. Obviously the problem we have in Wales a lot is that we get a lot of rain. We need to add drainage, especially when we're storing pots outside. And so perlite's brilliant, and it's really light stuff, you know, almost like polystyrene. It comes in these big sacks, really cheap to buy, and you know it lasts forever. Using it in the quantities that we do. So as I said, it's as simple as that really. We've got 75% compost, about 25% perlite, just a few handfuls of perlite in a bucket. Mix it up. It doesn't have to be exact. If it's 30% perlite, 40% perlite, 10% perlite, you know, it's going to work fine. It's really doesn't have to be exact. We wouldn't usually add fertilizer. However, for this particular example, we are potting up tomatoes, chilies, and some sunflowers as well. So, tomatoes and chilies, both quite hungry plants. And because we're a colder, wetter environment, they need a little bit of a boost, really, is what I find anyway. So we've potted up this tomato. It was a seedling in a tray, and we potted this up a few days ago. I think 2 or 3 days ago. It'll fill out this nice centimetre pot in, you know, I'd expect 3 weeks to a month, and be ready to then pot into the ground. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be moving them into the ground about 3 weeks to a month in their final position. But for the time being, it had run through all the nutrition available in the tray it was in, and also because the root ball was getting quite substantial. It was outgrowing the space really, so it needed to be potted on. So that's why I've added a little bit of granulated fertilizer, just to give it that extra boost. And of course, it's not going to be all used up within 3 weeks to a month. Once it goes into the ground there with the soil in the pot, obviously the fertilizer will be going with it. So that's the logic behind that. You can get away without using the fertilizer. You can do a liquid feed to keep things like tomatoes and chilies chugging along. That's fine too. You could maybe get away without feeding. It'll just sort of slow the plants down a bit. We noticed a little bit of yellowing in the leaves, so as I said, we've gone with that. Now this fertilizer is a 777 mix fertilizer. Let's have a look. Slow release granules. The 777 just refers to the nitrogen, potassium, and is it phosphate, I think? I don't know for sure actually. But it refers to the nutrient profile of the fertilizer. And 777 is a nice balanced fertilizer, slow release. It's not going to burn the plants, it's not going to harm them. Just going to give them that extra little boost really. And that's perfectly optional for if you're potting up really hungry plants. So, one thing to keep in mind while we're here, if you are potting up things like chilies and especially tomatoes, is that they're very good at rooting from the stem. I think they're called adventitious roots. So when you're pulling the small tomato plant out of the tray, you want to be planting it deep, so the stem, as much of the stem as you can really is under the soil, with just the first juvenile leaves left at just above soil level. That's ideal. That stem then will throw out roots along with the main root system and fill that pot really quickly. Really aggressive root growth, and that will lead to a really healthy tomato plant. Chilies do the same. They're not quite as vigorous in their adventures. I don't know the word. Not quite as vigorous with their stem root growth as tomatoes, but it's still worth planting them a little deeper than you would some other plants, just to give them that extra little boost. I guess the last thing I'd touch upon is that is the use of wood chip in compost, which I've seen some people do. So we get a lot of wood chip for free here on the farm from various tree surgeons, and we use it as ground cover, as mulch to build up the soil. Now you can see what we've got here. It's a lot of big chips mixed in with the smaller ones. Now mixing this into your compost would be a bad idea, very bad idea, because this wood, the large pieces, well, any wood, but obviously the larger the bigger the effect, will drain nitrogen from the soil through its relation to the microbes, breaking it down. As it's broken down, that nitrogen then is not available to your plant, which leads to stunted growth. You'll see yellowing leaves and just slow growth, unhealthy plants basically, if you chucked a bunch of that into your compost. Now, if you sieve it down to 10 mil, say, then that's fine to add in certain amounts. I've certainly done that and added maybe 25% to a compost, a potted mix, especially if it's for larger plants that are going to be sitting around in those pots for a little while. Things that are going to be left outside in big pots like hydrangeas or rhododendrons, especially if they like acidic soil. Then sieving that down to 10 millimeter, so you're only getting the smaller bits of wood chip. That's fine to add in small amounts. But I wouldn't be doing it for things like the tomatoes and the chilies, which are only going to be in this pot for a short amount of time. I want them to fill that pot quickly, so I don't want the wood chip in there to potentially slow that down. And I certainly wouldn't add it for sowing seeds in trays. And I wouldn't be adding anything above 10 mil really. That's fine for ground cover, for building up the soil. That's perfect. This is great. This suppresses weed growth and slowly breaks down to feed the soil life and build the soil slowly. But for potting purposes, not the best. Its use, when it is filtered below to around 10 mil, is to give some structure, I think, is kind of the main purpose of it. And it's a good bulking element as well, especially if you get it for free. If you can get a lot of it for free from your wood surgeon, from your tree surgeons nearby, which certainly around here isn't usually a problem, then it's a nice thing to bulk out. Makes the resulting potting mix a lot cheaper if you're taking 25% of the compost out to replace it with free material. So not a bad thing to use, wood chip, but needs to be done right and in the right proportions. So that's it really, simple as that. 75% compost, 25% perlite. If you don't want to use the perlite, you can use sand, you can use stone, whatever's going to add that drainage to the soil. Some people use 100% compost and seem to get on fine. I find that a little bit of extra drainage helps. You can play with these things. There's no definite answer, as with all things gardening and growing. Really, there very rarely is a 100% definite answer. Mess around with it, but if you want something that's gonna work, it's gonna be easy, and it's gonna be versatile for a bunch of different uses, then that mix works for us. So that's it really. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. See you again.